What is up, you fine people? How are you doing? Today's Thursday. I'm so glad to see you today. I'm so glad. We're supposed to be doing a live stream with the amazing YouTube couple, Becky and Chris, but something has happened. There was an emergency. Dr. Chris was on call, so fortunately we're missing that right now. But we're back live. We're a little rusty, I have to admit. I haven't been in the booth in a long time. We've been doing a lot of these after-hour sessions, the whiteboard sessions, so we're all kind of getting back into the groove of things, making content just for you. What are we going to talk about instead today? Well, as you can guess, there was an AMA graphic. That means Ask Me Anything. But to give some context to all of this and to start us off in a conversation, I thought I'd do something a little different. This is my version of reading mean tweets. I'm going to read something mean that somebody said about me and try to answer this as objectively as I can. Now, if you're joining us live on YouTube, first of all, thank you. Welcome. Jonah is going to drop a link in the YouTube live stream right now so that you can join us if you would like to have a discussion with us via Zoom. So go ahead and jump in the room. Keep your mics muted. Listen in. Get your questions ready. And just please, as I've said this many times before, just get right to the question. Just formulate your question. It starts usually with how, why, when, what, how to what. That's usually how questions start. And then I will ask you questions to get further details that I may need from your story, okay? I want to prep you ahead of time. Let's go do that. But today's topic, first of all, I'm going to welcome... Whoa! Why am I hearing that? Ding dong.
Oh.
That's going to mess me up.
Yep, my bad.
Okay. So can we work on that a little bit?
Yeah, we sure can.
Okay. So I'm going to kick off the conversation right now. Jonah, cut to my screen. I'm going to first welcome everybody to the future. And on today's episode, among other things, I'm going to answer the question, is Chris Do, that's me, a fraud? Am I a total fraud? Am I a fake guru? Am I a hack? And where's this coming from? So recently I got on Reddit. And Reddit's kind of an interesting, dark place sometimes. And I was searching something, and I saw this when I was just searching for my name. And it says, is Chris Do a fraud? I'm going to read a little bit of it for you. Not the whole thing. This person goes on to say, I'm not a graphic designer, I'm a teacher, but I've always been an artist and only recently started doing a few things to teach myself Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, etc. for the yearbook group I started at my school. So we know a couple things about this person. They're saying I'm not a graphic designer, and most of my audience is for graphic designers or people who aspire to be graphic designers. They're a teacher, we have that in common, that's awesome, but they've been an artist, and I don't describe myself as an artist except for when I'm doing YouTube videos. And recently they started doing a few things to teach themselves. So that means that they're relatively new to Illustrator, Photoshop, and InDesign. And I love that they're trying to learn something to teach others because they want to help the yearbook group. And as a high school student myself, I was also on the yearbook staff. And, you know, that's pretty cool. That was my entree into graphic design and the principles of graphic design. So here's where it gets interesting from this Reddit subforum. This is under the graphic design subforum, I believe. They go on to say, there is something about Chris Do that really bothers me. So, all right, okay, I accept it. Something about me bothers you. Could be my face, could be my voice, whatever it is, something is throwing you off. And here are the bullet points that they make. One is what I'm doing has no real substance, that I'm not very good at design. The design critiques that I offer are mediocre. And although I criticize other people for low percentage of engagement on Instagram and Twitter, I myself have low engagement on Instagram and Twitter, and that I'm also arrogant and full of it. They go on to conclude to ask this question in a rhetorical voice, is it me or am I crazy? What do you guys think? So what I'd like to do is to, as objectively as possible, I'm going to see if I can answer these questions, even though this wasn't a conversation. Now, this thread has been archived, so I can't respond to it anymore. And I'm sure that some of you out there who are listening to this may have the same feeling. So let's see if I can't correct some of these things. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to try and take these down one at a time. So the question is, or the statement is, there's no real substance behind what I'm doing, between what the future is doing. No real substance. And I asked Ricky, like, what does that mean when somebody says there's no real substance? Well, he's saying, like, you know, you don't go very deep. You only have surface level knowledge, that you maybe don't know what you're talking about, that I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay? So my slides have gone crazy here. That's not the slide I wanted to see. Okay. Now, I guess, oh, you know what, guys? I wanted to show you something here, so I'm going to escape here. Jonah, are we okay on the edit so far?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. I'm going to slide this over. No, I'm going to just share my screen. What am I going to do here?
No
See, you
idea.
guys interrupted me when I was halfway preparing for this thing, and so now my slide is all messed up. That's okay. How many people are watching us live right now?
Let me check. Oh, man.
I'm going to mirror display, and everything is going to get wacky.
200.
200. Okay, welcome 200 of you guys. Hopefully this thing will grow. So here we are. We're on the Future's website, or not the website, but the YouTube channel here, and we have 637,000 subscribers. And so there's an indicator that either we're pretty good at putting out low-level surfacey information, and we've tricked 637 people or robots to follow us. So maybe there's something there. And in terms of like design business channels, I think we're one of the few that do what we do. Okay, so there's not a lot of competition out there. And in that Reddit forum, they do ask that. Like, they wish that other people who were knowledgeable, who were good at presenting, who had the equipment, the time, and inclination to do this, that they would do this to compete against us, because it seems like we don't have a lot of competition in this space. So now we're looking at a couple of videos. What I did here is I sorted the videos by most popular. This is in terms of views, right? So this video that we put out on pricing, design, work, and creativity has 2.3 million views. That's a lot of views. And this was from a workshop that I did that people paid money for. And to the best of my knowledge, not a single person asked for their money back. Those are usually pretty good signs. I go into my first design portfolio. So we're going to scan down this video here on humility and design. That's a controversial video. I'm going to skip that one, but that one gets a lot of heat, but that's okay. I even had somebody animate a typography video for me to teach people about the rules of typography. So there are 10 rules there. And as you go down, one of the things that you'll notice that's quite different about our channel versus other channels is we go pretty deep on the conversation. Some of the live streams will go on for an hour and a half, sometimes even longer. I think our longest was an after hours one for 2.5 hours, where I did my best to answer questions from people. So I'm not quite sure where that comment's coming from. And you can see here, there's a couple other ones here on how to charge for design using value-based pricing. I think that one was done live at the AIGA Design National Conference, where people were sitting there in attendance, and we freestyled this. And I did my best to teach people how to do value-based pricing. There's another video here that we did on how to get 10,000 followers on Instagram. That was done recently at Adobe Max with an audience in attendance. And this video is performing really well because it's already up to 188,000 views. Or sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Where I'm trying to teach people how to do something. So again, I'm not quite sure what this person is referring to as has no real substance. And to date, we have over 1,000 videos that we've created for YouTube. Not all of them are listed because some videos we turn off, we make private, some air and we take down for a lot of different reasons. We teach things like about typography, negotiation, mindset stuff, how to overcome sales objections, teaching you as much as we can about what it is that we do. Okay, so I'm going to stop this. Let's cut away from this. I'm going to go back to multiple screen and jump back into my deck here. And if you guys are watching live, I do my best. You guys know this. I do my best to answer questions if you guys comment. And it's usually myself and Matthew and Sina, maybe a couple other team members that are helping me do this. But mostly it's just me. Okay? Let's get back into the deck if I can find it. Here we go. So the argument about us providing only surface level knowledge that I don't know what I'm talking about, it would be hard, I think, in my opinion, to make 1,000 videos and to make hours of content with millions of views and 600,000+ people who follow us and subscribe to our channel. We're really good at tricking people, or maybe there's more to that. Let's go to the next one. The next comment that they go on to make is, I'm not very good at design. And again, I asked Ricky, like, what does that mean to you? Like, not very good at design. And he said, maybe it's like you lack fundamentals, you don't have the proper training. And then I added in there that there is no peer review endorsements of the things that we've done in the past. So this person's opinion is that we're not very good, and that's it. That's an opinion. So let me try to see if I can address that. So here we go. In case you guys don't know, if you're new to the channel, I went to a really prestigious design school. I would consider one of the top 10 in the country. It's Art Center. and I got my BFA in graphic design in 1995. I only say 95 because I've been doing this for a really long time. And I'm the founder and CEO of 2 companies. Both have done 7 figures in billings. But Blind I'm quite proud of because we've done over $80 million in billings in the lifetime. Now, I'm not talking about profit. I'm just talking about gross billings, okay? And we've had a long list of very prestigious clients that we've worked with. I don't mean that we're working through other people, like somewhere down the line we touch one part of a video or commercial or something. We actually did the production on most of these things. For Microsoft, for Xbox, Sony PlayStation, for the Audi, A7, for Scion, Google, for bands like Coldplay, Gnarls Barkley, Justin Timberlake, just to name a few. And we've won awards. So this is usually, my opinion on awards is they don't really matter. But if we're trying to talk about something objective, that awards are usually juried by your peers, people who are reputable, who've done work, who have a lot of experience. And we've been awarded the firm, an Emmy, multiple Tellys, Clios, Broadcast Design Association Awards, Art Directors Club Awards, MTV VMA, London International Film Festival, the Pixie, a whole bunch of others. We've been included in Type Directors Club, Print, Res, and Communication Arts as featured creative people in usually their design annual, ID Magazine, etc. So we've been featured in a couple of places. Positions that I've held: chairman of the board of the SPGA, which produces North America's largest anime convention called Anime Expo. I sat on the Otis Board of Governors. I've been on the advisory board for AIGA LA, as well as the programming co-chair. I sit on the board as the advisory board for Saleshood and a couple other schools and institutions. I've lectured all over the world, and here's some of the places I've lectured. The AIGA National Design Conference that happened here in Pasadena this year. I've spoken at Digital Design Days in Milan and Geneva, Graphic Manila, which is in the Philippines, spoken at awards in New York City and San Francisco. 2 years ago, spoke at Rise Up Cairo in Egypt. That's happening right now. Spoke at Epicurrence, AAJ Miami, Dallas Fort Worth, Los Angeles. Spoken at Keyframes Conference, the Motion Conference in Santa Fe. So done a lot of speaking and lecturing. Again, I bring this up mostly because if there's an objective way to look at this, whether or not I know what I'm talking about or not, if you don't have to take my word for it. I keep getting invited to speak at things. Maybe that counts for something. I don't know. There's another comment here. The other comment is the design critiques that I give are mediocre. What that means to me is that I give bad feedback with unclear direction. It's all opinion-based and you don't know what to do with it. And I can't say anything to defend myself here. All I can say is I did teach at Art Center for over 15 years. I taught at Otis for over 10 years. And a bunch of people on YouTube. And they seem to want the feedback and desire to have the feedback. So again, I just don't know how to respond to that. Okay? Next up is that I have a very low percentage of engagement on Twitter and Instagram. Now, this one is not totally fair in terms of how I'm going to respond to it, so I just want to let you know, okay? So the reason why people say things like this is because when you have really low engagement, it's usually a sign that they're fake. With bots, promoted posts, they're just fake. And you can tell because when you have a large audience and you have very low engagement, relatively speaking, like if you have 100,000 followers on any platform and you have like 50 likes or comments or things like that, it's usually a sign that you've paid for it. You've done some nefarious things to get your followers, okay? So here I'm pulling up, as of today, as of right now, I did a screen capture and I don't know how to describe this to you, but there are some analytics that you can look at here. So this is my account, the last 28-day summary. And the reason why I say my response to this may not be fair to you is because I don't know when that comment was made. Maybe it was a time when I wasn't as active on social media as I am today. So that may be rooted in some kind of fair observation. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break out of this. I'm going to share. Hopefully this is working. Yeah, you guys can see that. I'm going to share with you my Instagram account. We've got my phone hooked up here. So I filtered the last year in terms of engagement. Again, I started posting very frequently on Instagram in the last 3 months. I've slowed down a little bit because I got things to do, but you can look at engagement. So as far as I can tell, relative to the size of my audience, which is about 200,000 plus followers, that it seems like it's decent. And I'll show you more stats here. I'll show you by, what should I show you by? Impressions maybe? Let's filter that out. So this means that a lot of people are seeing this and it's being shared quite a bit. So my top performing post, which I didn't even write, Greg Gunn wrote this one on how to make your color palette, has 723,000 impressions, which I think is pretty decent. So what other metrics should we look at, Jonah?
I have
Peter?
no idea.
What else should we look at? Let's look at maybe follows.
He's pretty.
Let's look at follows. Okay, so here we go. So this one post, how to always get paid, got 3,946 follows. Oh, there's my son liking it there. So I'm just saying my highest performing thing. So I'm going to scroll down here. So some of my posts get only a couple hundred follows, but I think I'm doing okay.
I think you could see who saves your post too.
Oh, you can?
Yeah. Click on the post individually.
No, I shouldn't. Okay, should we do it? Okay, Peter's telling me I should do it.
Go to the top one.
Okay, I'll go to this one. Now what should I do?
View insights.
View insights.
Damn.
Okay, now what?
22,000 on the top right.
It should say saves. Maybe if you scroll down
This
more.
22,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
22,272. That's how many people bookmarked it.
Oh, bookmark. Yeah, there we go. Bookmark.
Where do you see that?
On the very top.
Oh, the very top?
Top right.
This one? Yeah, I saw that, but I know that, see, this is how bad I am with social media. I'm not even sure how to do this stuff right. But you can see here, this post isn't currently promoted. I've not boosted any of my Instagram posts. I don't think I've ever done that because I don't even know how to set that up, okay? So that's one. We can take a look at another one just so I don't pick the top one. I'll just pick someone like down here. This one right here. So let's look at insights again. And you guys can see the number of likes, comments, shares, and bookmarks. And reach, all that stuff, right? And I'm not great at doing hashtags. David Talis is helping me out with hashtags, but prior to that point, I wasn't even using hashtags to get my posts seen. I'm a big believer in this. If you make high quality content, if you try to give value and you don't get all scammy about trying to make a sale on everybody that you come across, then they will follow you and they will share. They will genuinely share, and you don't even have to ask them to share. Okay, so are you monitoring the YouTube comments, you guys?
Yep.
Is there anything there that we need to look at? David Razik is saying, flex them, Chris. Okay, flex them right there. All right. So, I mean, those are my numbers. So I know, like, I'm guilty of this too, you guys. Sometimes we have an opinion about somebody or something, and we just react. And the reaction isn't coming from any place other than a feeling that we have. And they even say it. They even say, like, I don't know. It's just a feeling. It's a feeling. And I get it. I think I know why. And those of you guys that are participating with us live on YouTube, I'd love to get your opinion on this. I have a way of dressing, of looking, and people don't like it. They don't like that I'm wearing a flat-billed trucker-style cap. They don't like that. They don't like that I have ears that are pierced or whatever. And they don't like my headphones. They don't like that I'm an Asian American. I don't know. They don't like my shirt. They don't like guys that wear button-up shirts with prints. Maybe they just don't like my voice. And we'll get to this. What is it that they don't like? I don't know. And I can't do anything about it. I can't. And I really believe in this, that if you are creating content, if you are a public personality, if you just take the middle line, if you try to play nice with all people, you kind of become like milquetoast. So I have an opinion. I have a strong opinion. I have a strong voice, and I want to be able to share it with the world. I've moved away from running my business so that I can do this. So I'm going to be unfiltered. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. I'm going to say it as confidently as I can say it because I'm passionate and I believe in it, and I know it throws people off. I think people are used to the shy, humble, meek, creative. And I go against that norm. I really do. So this is the last accusation that they're lobbying against me, and I want to get into your questions. You are arrogant and full of it. This is what they're saying. You're arrogant and full of it. And to that, I've done a lot of research, and I just have to say, I guess I'm guilty of that. I don't know. I believe what I'm doing. I truly believe what I'm doing, and I don't really care about anybody's opinion. I really don't. And if that labels me as being an arrogant person, if I have a strong perspective, point of view on something, and you want to label that as being arrogant, so be it. I just don't know what to do with that. Okay, let's jump into some of the comments, and let's see what's going on here. Okay. Oh, Jonah, you're commenting on it too on the chat. I see you there.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got an earlier question if you want to tackle that one.
Okay. Peter, can you grab the mic and talk into it?
Yep.
Peter is one of our, can I call you a former fan, now a pro member?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so Peter happens to be in town. He's coming out here from Las Vegas. Did I get that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so one of the benefits of being a pro member is, like, if you're in town, just hang out with us. And he's been here for a couple of days. So Peter, we don't have a camera on you, but you can ask the questions.
Okay, cool. There was one, I forgot who actually said it.
Okay.
The chat's moving fast. But how do you start teaching? How do you get good at teaching?
That's a great question. Okay, how do you start teaching? Okay, so for me, my entry into teaching was really because a friend of mine was teaching and she couldn't teach for whatever reason, her schedule conflicted. And she's like, Chris, do you want to teach? Now, I've been out of school for 5 years at that point in time. I feel like I've learned a couple things because I was really hesitant to go back to school and teach. I always felt like I'm going to learn only a small percentage of what my professors taught me. So to turn around right away and teach again, I just thought that I wasn't going to do a very good job because I didn't learn new things to add to the conversation. So I waited 5 years. 5 years was my minimum. I felt at that point in time I'd learned enough, I was confident enough, and an opportunity to present itself. A lot of times, all you need to do is let people that you know that are in your circle, you are interested in teaching. That's all it takes. You can actively look out. Now, many people, some of them are fans and friends of this channel, wrote to me or came up to me at a party or an event and said, hey, man, dude, I need a job. I want to teach. And I said, oh, what do you do? And they would tell me about what they're doing. And then I would recommend them. And then it's up to them to either get the job or not. And luckily, I also know some professors and people that are part of the department chair or faculty advisors, those kinds of people who I can make recommendations to. But what I would say, reach out to your network and let them know that you want to teach. Now, the first year of teaching was really rough for me because all sorts of imposter syndrome, just not knowing how to teach. I had to work that out. So I apologize to all my students in that first year. It was rough. It was really rough. So I'm sorry. I hope you guys forgive me and got something from it. Okay. What else we got going on? So now that we've shared the Zoom link, are there people in the Zoom room?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's identify somebody in the Zoom room who wants to come on air. Raise your digital hand, I think. Is that how we do it?
Yeah.
Raise your hand. Jonah or Peter will pick you.
So
We got somebody? Let's bring them on air. We haven't done this a long time, so you guys can actually come on the show with us live and ask the question. And in case they're a troll, you might have to delete them or block them right away. So let's see what happens. We're live, guys, so who knows? Anything can happen at this point.
Yeah.
All right. Yoni from the Best Barbecue Show. He's been raising his hand since the
Okay, let's
very
bring him
beginning.
on. Yoni.
Yeah.
Yoni, come on and let me talk to you.
Give me a sec.
Okay, standing by. Costas SC is asking, what is the latest book that you read? I think the last book that I finished, and I'm all mixed up in my head, I think I read This is Marketing or Socratic Selling or the One-Page Marketing Plan. I'm reading them all at the same time. So I finished those books, but I'm reading 3 books concurrently right now. How You Learn or How We Learn. I'm also reading Peter Drucker's book, The Effective Executive. And there's another book I'm reading too. So I'm about like a third of the way through 3 books, and I'm spacing out right now. So let's see what else we got here. Let me know when they're ready, okay?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Okay. Hugh is watching, my brother from another mother. Oh, I heard you coughing there.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
get him on.
he's like, hi, Chris. Do you think it's important for a designer to grow a following on Instagram? Okay, that's a very good question. Now, if you have a ton of work and you don't need any leads and you're getting paid so much money, like you don't know what to do with all the cash and you have a tax problem, just keep doing what you're doing. Now, if you don't have a lot of leads and you're not commanding top dollar and you're not sitting on a mattress of cash, I would suggest you do anything and all things possible in your power to get known. That could be through speaking at events, teaching, winning awards, or being published. But in this day and age, social media is probably your best friend. So I would say yes, because people only hire who they know. Okay, Hugh? All right, now, is he ready?
Yeah.
All right, bring him on. Let's see.
All right.
So, hey, man.
How's it going?
Good. How are you? Good to see you. I don't know if you
Great,
can
dude.
see
This
me.
is amazing.
Okay, so here's what we'd love to do. I want you to quickly, like in like 20 seconds, say your name, say what city you're from, whatever part of the world, and then let's get right into the question, okay?
Yeah. Hey, I'm Yoni. I'm from Austin, Texas. I run a barbecue podcast, YouTube, Instagram, trying to cover the Texas barbecue scene.
Hell
I
yeah.
love what y'all do. And I'm really curious I'm trying to come up with a logo. And I'm thinking about colors. I'm thinking about shapes. I'm thinking about designs. I've watched so many of your videos. I'm just curious what what you think of when you think of a barbecue show, something that way, the way that's branded.
Okay. First of all, you got a hell yeah from your fellow Texas guy.
Yes, sir.
From Jonah. He's respecting the BBQ game here. Okay. A couple of things. All right. When I think of barbecue, I think of smoky. I think of things that are hot. I think of meat products. That's what I think of. So the one thing I would like to tell you to think about is resist the temptation to show somebody barbecuing. That we don't want to make a logo that's illustrative. I would like a logo that has a feeling to it. And so I would start off with a great typeface and a configuration. Now for me, I think if you come up with a really good logo lockup, like maybe a simple shape, and you design a word mark and you put some typography inside and some details to give it some flavor, and then you could probably treat that so you could just stress it a little bit so it has a sense of time and age and maybe even burn it into some materials. See, I like things that imply what you're doing more than to illustrate.
This is what he has.
Oh, he's got it.
There's a few I've got.
Okay, let's see this. Let's see this.
Think.
Okay. Okay, so you are doing that thing. Okay, so best barbecue. I see BBQ. I see how you turn that to the side there. Okay, let's keep. Is that what you got?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, now I'm going to attempt to give you a mediocre critique here. Okay, now some of these are really nice lockups. Like I like that BBQ right there, the best BBQ, because it does a lot of different things, right? It feels very modern to me. Is that an aesthetic that you're going for?
Yeah, I want something, I make just as much as I make Texas barbecue. I also make like noodles with brisket in it, or
wow.
It's a very modern version of barbecue that I'm covering.
Well, perfect then. I like that there is the Q doubles as a dialogue bubble, right? I think that's very clever. That's a good idea. And are you a graphic designer too?
No, this is a guy I'm hiring to help me.
Oh, okay. Then your graphic designer is doing a pretty good job. I would steer clear away from the one that says best with 4 circles, that one to the right there. That just feels a little bit on the generic side unless it means something to you. I think you've got something really clever. See, so I also see the evolution of the best BBQ mark there, where you can use it as a logo lockup, like a badge like that. You can reduce it down to the one in the middle there, in the red and the black. But you can also just knock out the counters, like the far right. If you go all the way to the right, you see how there you can just see 3 shapes.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really handy for your apps and for simple applications, like for a cap where you have to do embroidery, where you can't include all that kind of stuff, right? So I think your designer's onto a very good direction. I think if in that circular lockup one, the one to the left there, I would just try to find how to incorporate that within the circle and the lettering. I think some more detail has to happen there, and I think that's it.
Amazing, dude. Thank you so much. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you very much. Now, do you have an Instagram account or a website you want to promote and shout out?
Hell yeah, bestbbqshow.com, and it's just best barbecue spelled out BARBECUE on Instagram.
Okay, best barbecue all spelled out, and bestbbqshow.com. Well,
yep.
Yoni, thanks for calling in. Thanks for doing this, and thanks for watching,
Chris.
Man.
I love it. You're the best.
All right, take care, man. All right, Jonah.
I know I chose the right man for
you
the
did.
job.
Somehow there's some bias going on there. All right. Okay, some barbecue action going on here. Okay, let's see what other comments we got over here.
Yeah, I got a good one. I've been writing them down, unless you want to choose one yourself.
No, please read it off.
All right. So this one's from, I'm going to butcher your name, sorry. Lucas Kober. Don't you sometimes feel more like a slick businessman than a designer? Do you still design stuff?
Okay. Do I feel more like a slick businessman?
Bringing some of that Reddit energy in here.
Yeah, you are. Do I feel like a businessman? I may be one of those rare creatives where I think I'm split right down the middle. And I get this from both my parents, where my dad is an engineer and my mom is an artist. And I have 50-50 of their DNA and genetic and their inclinations, right? So I'm super logical. I do want to be an entrepreneur. I've dreamt of being an entrepreneur most of my life. I'm not talking about starting at 19 or 20. I'm talking about like when I was 7 or 8. And I was sharing stories with people that are in the office. Like, man, I tried to sell all kinds of things in my life. And it just so happened that now that I have some skill, I can sell creative services. And now I sell knowledge products. So I've been trying to sell something for a really long time. The reason why I didn't go into sales in the first place is because I'm an introvert. I'm super shy. And the idea of going door to door and pitching something to people that they probably don't really need, in all honesty, that was just like a gross idea to me. So when I got out of school, I knew as if I could just manifest it. I saw it so clearly. I saw having a studio near the beach, and here we are 17 blocks away from the beach doing like really fun and cool projects. And I envisioned all of this stuff way before I had the opportunity. So when the opportunity presented itself, when the door opened, I jumped through it. I just went for it. And if you think that there's a conflict between being a creative human being and a business person, you may be selling the creative short. The reason why so many creative people struggle to make ends meet, struggle to save some money, to pay down debt, to plan for the future. And I hear your stories all the time, and it really hurts me. It affects me that some of you don't have much runway at all, that outside of doing what you're doing right now, there is no time off, because if you take time off, you'll be in deep financial trouble. And if we as creative people, as the community, got smarter about how to run our business, how to manage it, how to do sales and marketing, how to negotiate a fair price for the work that you do, we would be in a much better place. If you believe in Daniel Pink, we're leaving behind the information age and we're going to the age of creativity. And I would love to help as many people out there that are listening to this to rise up, to take your seat at the table, to claim your fair share. If you want to describe that as slick business person and that's a bad thing for you, then so be it. Do I design anymore? I haven't designed in a really, really, really long time. I really haven't. Mostly what I do is I art direct and I creative direct a team of people. And the only times I get to design are when I'm making my own keynote decks or when I'm posting things on Instagram. So yeah, I have enough skill to be able to do those things, I think. I think I could design one of these posters. I probably can't draw as well as Hydro 74. These ones, I can't draw like that. But with enough practice, I think I can do it. So I think we have to let go of this idea, you guys, that creativity means that we have to be poor. Creativity means we can't learn how to speak about business, and we have to feel gross about it. I know it's uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable for me too. But if you can get over this, you can do well for yourself. Okay? All right. So that's the honest answer. I do my own Instagram posts. Most times, if it's a video that I'm producing, I probably do the thumbnail, and I do my own keynote decks, and that's about it. Good question. All right, let's go back to our Zoom call. Let's get the next contestant.
We got Rodrigo.
Rodrigo. Oh my God, you got Rodrigo. I see so much of you, Rodrigo. How are you going? How you doing, man?
Good, man. You just wrapped up a shoot. But my question is actually about to type it in. So, Chris, knowing what you know today, if you're 30 years old, what business or career would you start?
Knowing what I know today, what business or career? What is my objective with this career?
Just based on the information that you know, you're a very knowledgeable guy. And if you had to pretty much, in a sense, start over, what path, knowing what you know, that you could follow?
Okay. There's probably two things I would do, Rodrigo. First thing I would do is I would probably get into entrepreneurship, like venture capital, and start a company building some kind of application. Because that's the path in which you can make the most impact on people's lives, and to come up with an idea and just go for it, to do the Silicon Valley thing. I think I would do that. That would be one of the things I would do. So develop software, find a problem that is needing a clever, novel solution, and go for it, and just set things aside and go for it. The other thing I would do is this. I would try to become more consistent with my writing so that I could write a book and I could speak and I could be a published author. I really look up to people like Simon Sinek, Seth Godin, and because what they're doing is they're influencing the world through words and ideas. And I am now really kind of enjoying that part of my life, that I get to read and write and think about things. And it's very pleasurable for me right now. And I can't say that when I was 30 that was even something I thought about doing. So I would do that. I would read and I would write.
Awesome. Thanks for that, man.
Is there anything else? Since you're a pro member, since you've been here so many times, I'm going to give you any extra follow-up questions or anything else that's on your mind, man.
Dude, that's it. I want to give the opportunity to somebody else that doesn't get a chance to talk to you all the time.
And you're a nice guy too. Look at that, you guys. He has the mic and he's like, I'm gonna let it go. So Rodrigo, how do people find out about you? Where do they go?
Instagram.
Okay. What is
Drigo, it? Drigo_who.
Can you spell that for us?
Yeah, DRIGO_who. WHO.
Okay. Drigo_who. And you're based out of, are you based out of Miami?
North of Miami, West Palm.
West Palm. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I hope to be out there again soon. I'm in discussions with AIJ. Hopefully we'll figure out another workshop to do and I'll be out there. But I think you're coming here for the brand masterclass, aren't you?
Yep. I'll be there in February.
All right. Well, I'll see you then. Okay. Take care, man. All right.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. Why don't we bounce back to Peter? Peter, any other questions coming in?
Yeah, there is. To me, it's okay. So, KVP Design asks, a huge percentage of designers I follow started to copy the way the Futur posts their stuff. To me, it's a very cheap way to represent yourself. Do you have a take on the influence that you have?
Yes. Okay. So who's asking this question again?
KVP Design.
KVP Design. Okay. You know, the interesting thing is I was talking to Matthew about this very subject over lunch, how he had resisted doing the Instagram carousel game because as soon as it seemed like a few of us were doing it, I don't want to take credit for starting anything, but a few of us started doing it. It seemed like Attack of the Clones, kind of Star Wars related, like just 1,000 people doing the exact same thing. Here's my personal take on it, and then I'm going to share Matthew's take on it, and maybe between the two, you guys have a point of view that you can use for yourself. My take on it is this. I'm an educator. I'm trying to teach and share what it is that I know, and I try to do it as transparently as possible. And for a lot of people, they're really suspicious of that somebody out there is willing to share what they've learned and have spent a lot of money learning with you guys for free, without strings attached, without a hard pitch during the middle or the end of this thing, right? So when people start to copy, what are they really copying? I think they're copying the aesthetic and the idea that they want to create a carousel. So the chances are they're using the same typefaces like Champion Gothic and Helvetica. Chances are they're even writing out all the little mouse type, the type at the bottom, at the top. They're doing the exact same layout. That's not my intention. My intention wasn't to encourage people to literally copy the exact same typeface, typeset, and positioning. I wanted them to embrace the idea of creating content, using carousels to teach, and how to structure your carousel, how to draw people in, how to build value as you swipe through, and how to punctuate it at the end so it's super clear through a summary and then a call to action or something like that. But unfortunately, I understand this. There are people out there who aren't graphic designers, so the best that they can do is to emulate what they know. So I'm personally not bothered by it, but I want to share something with you guys here. Not that long ago, I was at a talk at Car Service, and there was a speaker. He's the founder of a company called Acronym, which is like a streetwear, techwear company. And Arison, he was speaking. He says, you should most definitely steal from other people. But what he said is don't steal what they do. Try to imagine what they were thinking about, the process in which they created it, and steal that. Steal their process. Don't steal the end product, because then you're just an empty knockoff. And everybody knows that. That's the problem with that. So what I was trying to do is to teach people the structure. I was actually sharing the process, but ultimately, for whatever reasons, people started to steal the end product. Didn't look good. So Matthew said he sat out on the sidelines for a little while because the clones all came in and he didn't want to be a Me Too designer, even though this is the future and we should have similar styles. So he sat out for a while, started experimenting with designs that he feels that would be unique and different, and he did that. And as soon as he started doing that, somebody started ripping him off, and he was thinking, dude, that is not cool, because I deliberately tried to do something that was against all the stuff that looked like Me Too, and then here somebody else is doing it. Now, luckily, he's been able to resolve that, but I can see how people get frustrated when they try to do something that feels different and unique to them, and then everybody just steals the exact same layout and design. But personally, I don't have much of an issue with it. I don't know if it's going to do you a lot of good by stealing or ripping off the exact layout. Steal the idea, steal the thinking of it, steal how somebody approaches it. Like, what books are they reading? How are they taking that book and condensing it down to the simple idea that's very actionable and clear? That's what you should be stealing. Okay. Let's keep going on. That was a great question. Do we have somebody else that wants to come on?
Yeah, we got Fernando.
Fernando. Are there any women that want to come on the show, or is it all dudes?
I see a woman, but I don't think she had her hand raised.
Okay. So I'm going to encourage you guys, if you're female especially, if you're a person of color, please, we want to represent. We want to get diverse voices in here. Please jump into the Zoom room. Come up with your question. We'll pick you, okay? So Fernando, please. How you doing?
Give me 1 second.
Okay, we're still waiting on Fernando.
Right here. Here he goes.
Okay, Fernando, how you doing, man? Fernando, can you hear me? Okay, we'll sit tight for a little bit. Okay. Mila is saying Austin Cleon's.
Oh.
Whoa, that was weird.
I think he's playing it through his speakers. I just unmuted him.
Yeah, okay. Why don't you work that out, Fernando? We'll give you another shot. If we can't, we'll just move on, okay? So Miguel was saying, steal like an artist, Austin Kleon. I've actually interviewed Austin Kleon. He says most people forget the very important part of that title. It's not just steal. It's steal like an artist. And he goes on to explain how artists transform, how artists combine, how artists draw from different sources, and it's not a cheap imitation. So those are critical things. So I think a lot of people like to point to steal like an artist. I do, but to understand the entirety of the message, not just steal. And there's a lot of stealing going on, but whatever. Okay. Oh, is somebody back online? Fernando?
I don't know. We'll see.
No? Okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Loud and clear, man.
Sorry for that.
No
Yeah,
problem.
my microphone got disconnected.
Okay. Well,
All right, so
tell us.
I'm Fernando.
Yep.
I'm from Brazil, and can I go on? Sorry.
Yeah, Brazil. Got it.
Yes. And I've been doing work on Upwork for about 2 years, but I'm tired of the dynamics over there. And I set a goal for myself for 2020 to basically attend Adobe Max in hopes to get to know more people in the business and mainly just get better clients. Does that make sense to you guys? Is that a good goal to be setting?
So is that your question?
Yeah.
Okay, your question is to be successful enough to allow you to go and invest in your own network, right? Is that the idea?
Basically. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to access clients outside of Brazil, but also that was basically my idea when I got on Upwork. But clients on Upwork, as you know, were not the best clients.
No, they're not.
And
okay.
so my hope is that at a place like Adobe Max, which is like an international conference, that I would be able to access better clients and also expand my network as far as other people in the design business.
Excuse me, I got really excited. I want to talk to you. And I'm like swallowing on my own saliva here. Choking on my own saliva.
Flattered,
Excuse me.
man.
Give me
Thank
1 second. All right. Ooh, I'm going to talk about this Upwork. I'm going to get all fired up here. Just take it down a little bit. Calm my energy. Okay. A couple of things. One is if you want to work with a broader international client base, there are a lot of other ways to do this besides attending a conference like Adobe Max. Now, I hope that you join Adobe Max because I'm pretty sure we'll be there and I'd love to meet you face to face. But your website serves as an awesome tool to collect and connect international clients and eyeballs. Going on Behance and establishing your work there and doing really great case studies and writing, taking beautiful photographs, showing the extent and breadth of your exploration will be key to your success. I think Dribbble is also another excellent place to post your work. But like somebody had asked earlier about, is it important to get on Instagram and develop a following? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And yes, it is. So the reason why you're on Upwork is a middle person, the middleware, in this case, is not even a person, it's a robot, is doing the work of marketing your services to an international group of buyers. Unfortunately for you, Upwork, people come there with the mindset, I want to get a good deal. I want to basically use arbitrage to my advantage. I want to be able to buy something for less and get more money for my more value for my dollar. And that's where there's the danger, right? You go on Upwork, you go on Fiverr, they expect to get a deal. They don't value design necessarily. So I would encourage you to start to develop your own sales and marketing system. You can market to people in Brazil because I believe Brazil is like kind of growing as a country in terms of economic opportunities, right?
Yeah, it is. But the problem is mainly that as far as if you were to compare the rates and basically what you can get. If I were to get, let's say, a client from the US, it's just very, very different. And here are the clients that I've been able to access. I know that there are much bigger and better clients, but the ones that I've been able to access so far, they just don't have the budget. They always want to lowball you. They always they're just,
I get it.
they just all fall into the bad client kind of stereotype, right?
Yeah.
And so that was the hope with the whole try the Adobe Max thing was just a way that I thought that was maybe sort of easier, I guess, to meet those people face to face.
Yep.
And as far as Behance and Instagram and all the other stuff, basically building my website, Behance and Dribbble is just the first thing I'm going to start doing next year, as early as January, basically. But I was worried that, let's say, I do build a website and I do have a great portfolio on the website, on Behance, and on everything else. But my worry is that how are people going to get to the website in the first place, right? Because I'm just going to be starting from scratch.
Yeah, so you're asking a complicated question. I'm going to do my best to try to give a more in-depth answer to this thing so that the same person doesn't troll me on this thing. So let's talk about this, okay? Now, we can establish, why don't you hit yourself mute? Somebody is like, I'm getting a little background noise there, okay? So unless you're ready to say something, just put yourself on mute. It's hard for me to focus, okay? So, yeah, you need to mute. When you're not talking, just mute, because I'm getting some background feedback, okay? Now, when you're out there and you're trying to get work, when Fernando says, I'm going to get on Behance and all this stuff at the beginning of next year, it's like, I have to ask all of you guys this question. Why aren't you doing this? So you're depending and you're leaning too much on these platforms that are marketplaces for creative services. And I wish for all of you, if you're listening to this, please get off those platforms, get your work up on Behance, and spend a lot of time crafting that so that it's really good. The quality of the bait will attract the quality of the fish, so to speak. And if you do really good on Behance, it gets noticed, it gets shared, it gets appreciated, and it might even win a little badge token from Behance, and they'll kind of push you up in the ranks, okay? It's really important for you to do this. That's one way to get leads. My friend from Farm Design, Aaron Atchinson, who you've seen on the show before, almost all of his leads come from Behance, and he has more leads than he has time to even look at the bids. It's crazy. He has so many leads coming from Behance and if you look at Farm Design on Behance, you'll see why. So that should be your standard, your bar of how high you should hit. If you can do that and do it consistently for more than 3 projects, there's a good chance eventually somebody's going to spot you. They may feature you on a blog. Like, who's typing there, Jonah? Can you see them and just mute them?
Yeah, so we're muted, but they can't hear it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, thanks. I see what you're saying. Okay, so everybody on Zoom, please hit mute for me. Okay, so when you build your website, I don't care how good your website is, nobody's going to look at it. Nobody's going to look at it. It's going to be very hard to drive traffic. That's why I talk about Behance and Dribbble, maybe even LinkedIn, to build a social following to drive people to your work. And eventually, when they're curious enough, they will land on your website. So that needs to be up to date. The ways that you can help yourself on the website is to play the SEO game, search engine optimization, to be friendly for search, so all your images are tagged properly. You have good rich data, some text along with that, some keywords, and then you start to identify the words that you want to be known for. And if you do that, hopefully organic search will help people to find you. But that's not also a great lead, because people who are searching for Google, who have no clue through Google, have no clue what they're looking for, they're not going to be necessarily great buyers. Okay, I also want you to exploit all your friends and family network, because somebody out there needs some design services, and to pick really good clients who allow you to be super creative. And if you can do that, you're going to start to build up a really nice portfolio and just keep getting that experience, the opportunity to work with and bid on jobs and be able to manage projects in real time with real people. That's a skill that you're going to need, because once you're able to connect with a real substantial client, if that's the first time that you're talking to somebody like that in person or over the phone, you're going to send them all the wrong signals. They're going to start to get suspicious, like, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. Okay, so you need that practice time. Now, if you save up enough money and you're going to go to a conference, I'd love to see you at Adobe Max, but that's not a conference for you to find clients. There are basically 16,000 other creative people looking for the same thing that you're looking for. You would go to Adobe Max maybe to find a job as an in-house creative, because there are a lot of companies there that probably might be looking for you. You're better off doing what my friend Joanna has done. She's gone and spoken at marketing conferences to businesses and spoken about the power and effectiveness of design. She says before she gets off the stage, she has 20 new clients. So you should aspire to speak about design, its impact, how you have a new, fresh, innovative approach to it or something like that, and speak at a conference where there are buyers. Buyers don't tend to be other graphic designers, okay?
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Thank you very much for your answer. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, man. Thanks very much, Fernando. We're going to take another caller, and we'll answer another question. Peter, do we have another question?
Or Zoom?
YouTube, I think.
YouTube. All right, we're gonna go back and forth.
We're going to go
like
back and
that.
forth, yeah.
All right. Man, there's a lot. This one's kind of interesting, more personal towards you. Also, how would you quantify your billion-person goal?
Yeah, okay. Very good question. Sometimes goals like this don't need to be quantified just like that. It's a moonshot, right? It's like we need to get to the moon. What we're going to do once we get there, I don't know. But I know that if we set our sights on trying to impact 1 billion lives on planet Earth, which I think is 1 in 8 lives, which is a pretty big number if you think about it. Now, what Ben Burns and I are going to do is we're going to build a little counter, a real-time counter like McDonald's, how you drive past a McDonald's and it says over 74 billion burgers sold or something like that. What we want to do is have a counter on our website that allows you to say, I'm going to click on this. I'm going to verify I'm a real person, not a robot, and the counter is going to move up. So eventually, or when it starts, it'll be like 1, and then maybe it'll get to a couple hundred, and we'll see. I think that's the only way we can legitimately count this. Now, I also feel like the people who watch our videos who apply what they've learned, they count. And people have been using the hashtag 1B-1, which is 1 billion minus 1, like count me in as part of that. Eventually, we'll figure out a way to count those people. But I think the clearest, most direct way to do this is to have a little digital counter that you can tag, touch, put in some information to say, yes, I'm a real person, do the CAPTCHA thing or something like that, and then it'll go up by 1. Okay, another question? Let's do another quick one. Or not so quick, whatever you want.
It's kind of like, how do you learn? What is your method of accumulating information, learning it, and making sure that actually sticks?
Okay. All right. My method for learning. My method for learning is a mix of a couple of things. And I'm going to post this on Instagram pretty soon. So if you guys want to see this, make sure you follow me. I'm at the Chris Doe. It's just my name, the Chris Doe. If you follow that, I'm going to show you. What I do is I like to read. I dedicate even a single day each week to read. And when I read, I use a highlighter. I'm highlighting things. I'm making notes in the margins. And people have seen me do this and they call it blasphemy. And I think to myself, you guys are being a little ridiculous. A book is a mass-produced good. It's designed to teach. It's on paper. You're not creating any kind of blasphemy. It's like if you care more about having a pristine book than actually learning, then your priorities, I think, need to be re-examined. Okay? This is not like an art collectible. So I read the books, I write, I underline, I put arrows in things. I do all kinds of things to make sure that I can remember this. So usually that's reading number 1, which is to pass through and highlight. Reading number 2 is I go through and I comb it for takeaways, key ideas, frameworks. And I'm trying to also think, how else can I apply this in my real life? And I keep it on a document like using paper from Dropbox paper. And I'm going to show you what that looks like too. So usually when you go back into the table of contents, it's a pretty good idea. Like that's a pretty good outline. Look at those things, pull out what's important to you, add some details. And then the next step is, this is the most critical part. You got to share it with somebody. You have to apply it. If it lives here and you don't have the opportunity to share it, it doesn't become cemented as something that you know. Now, I remember many years ago, before I got onto the YouTube channel, I became aware of Gary Vaynerchuk, and I watched him do a talk at USC to a bunch of business students. And the way he was able to quote people, to pull out certain facts and little stories, kind of just pulling it out of the air, out of the ether, I was so impressed. I was thinking to myself, there is no way I can do that. That seems to be like some skill that I'm never going to be able to have. And lo and behold, 30, 40 books later, I'm also able to pull those pieces of information. You just need opportunity to apply what it is that you've learned, period. If you learn how to draw by watching a video, but you don't actually draw, you've not really learned. You have to apply. So application is the best, most effective way to learn something. So teach to learn to teach.
All right, ready for?
Yeah, I'm ready
Zoom?
for the next Zoom person, and it's probably going to be the last person because it's getting kind of late, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, we got Keshna over here.
Keshna?
Yep.
All right. Hey, all right. Hi, Keshna. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. So tell us where you're from and what's your question?
I am from New Jersey, and my question is, where should I start with investing in the courses?
Oh,
Goal is to eventually become a brand strategist. Currently, I'm doing illustration, and I work in packaging design.
okay. Are you talking about our courses or just courses in the wild world?
Your courses, and I'm currently going through the books that you've suggested. I just
Great.
finished The Power of Self-Confidence, and the next books that I have lined up is Zag. So I
Okay.
just don't know which order to do things in. So I'm all down for the implementation. I just want
Okay.
to know where to start.
Okay, I'm going to give you very actionable tactical advice, not tactile, tactical advice. So let's get ready, okay? So I am not taking notes right now, so I'm going to tell you, I'm giving you a warning. Everybody that wants to do what Keshna wants to do, I'm going to tell you how to do this right now. The first book that you're going to read is a book called How to Read, or the book, The Surprising Thing About How We Learn. Both are very good books, and they talk about how to learn. And this is really important. So this will change the way that you read. Now, I've also started reading How to Read, but it's a very dense book, and the people that have read it have told me some of the big ideas. And also through my research, I found some of the high-level stuff, okay? How to Read tells you something like the first pass of reading a book, you shouldn't read it for retention. You just should read it to see if you like it. And they said also, don't be afraid when you start reading a book. If it's not speaking to you, if it's not the right language, or you're just not feeling like you're getting a lot from it, stop reading it. Put it aside. So the first read is just a scan. So you want to read it quickly, and that's what I'm doing with my highlighter. I'm not trying to say I've mastered it. I just want to read it fast. And having a highlighter in my hand helps me to read because it makes my eye focus on the words on the page. You know, sometimes when you read a book 2 or 3 pages later and you think to yourself, what did I just read? Yeah, your eyes were scanning it, but your mind was somewhere else, and so you're not absorbing the information. So read the book, How to Read, or The Surprising Thing About How We Learn, okay? And then curate a list of 5, probably just all you need is 5 books to begin with on one subject. Since you want to become a brand strategist, there's probably 2 books that you need to look for, books on branding and strategy. So I would start with branding books, okay, because those are easier for me to tell you about. So books on branding include probably The Brand Gap, Zag, The Brand Flip, all written by Marty Neumeier. I'll read those 3. There's probably a couple other books. There's one by Michael Johnson. It's something branding. I think he's pretty good at doing that. And so I would read those books. And then I would read a couple of books on strategy. And then you're going to form an opinion. The point of reading multiple books isn't to be able to memorize what each book says, but it's so that you have an informed opinion about what it is that you're talking about. So now you have a sense of like what branding is. You know how to talk about it. There's some great case studies, things that you're going to be able to reference. Then what I would do is I would watch a couple of our videos on the same subject, right? I would watch those videos over and over again and take notes and see if you haven't been able to squeeze as much value from the videos as possible before you buy a course.
I got another question.
Okay. So far, so good? Kashna, you understand so
So
far?
far.
Okay. It sounds like a lot of work.
I'm under-
And it is. It is. And here's the cool thing. When you read these books, it's going to spark other ideas, and you may want to read other books, but finish your 5 books. I think it's important to read 5 books on one subject. You won't become a subject matter expert, but you become a pretty darn informed person. If you ask most people, have you read 5 books on one subject? I'm pretty confident they're going to say no. Okay? All right.
Okay.
Kashna, what's your follow-up?
I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
Hold on.
You want me to keep talking? Matthew is reminding everybody, all these are in our kit link, by the way.
I remember my question.
Go ahead.
You said to go back and watch all the videos.
Yes.
Some of the videos are private.
Some of the videos are
I've
private.
been following you guys for some time now.
I guess you
and
have.
I've gone back. I've gone
Okay.
back and tried to watch those videos, and they're private. I've been following you guys for a long time. I don't know why I didn't invest, but I'm gonna go ahead and follow this these steps that you've given me.
Yeah. Okay.
But what about the videos that are private?
I love your honesty. Okay. It's cool. First of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you very much, Kashna, for watching these videos and for being a part of our community for a really long time. I do appreciate that. I think Matthew, myself, and a couple other community managers, we take off videos that for a number of different reasons. One, maybe we want to make a course out of it, or two, more likely, it's like it doesn't have enough views and it hurts our, I'm going to admit it, our vanity metrics. Like we want brand sponsors and partners to look at our videos and like, wow, all our videos get so many views. So when we go really deep on certain subjects, only people like you want to know them. So we get like 12,000, 15,000 views. It's not enough for us, right? We want to be able to get lots of views so that people have confidence in saying, let's do a deal together. The other reason why we take them down is because they are meant to expire, right? We put out a video and it's the beginning of a course. And so it creates a lot of conflict for us because people say, well, why would I buy your course when I'm watching the video for free? So eventually we do have to take some of them down. All right. So here's the next step. There are a couple of courses that I think you're going to want to take that we sell. Now, you have missed basically all the sales, but that's okay because you have a lot of books to read anyways, okay? So I'm going to let everybody know, if you're interested in buying one of our courses, and if you feel the need to learn it right now today, you can go ahead and buy it, and we appreciate you for doing that. But we have 2 sales every year. It happens during Independence Day, July 4th, and during Black Friday. So the promotions are heavy during those 2 months, and the rest of the time it's full price. The reason why we do this is because we believe in the value of what it is that we do, and we don't believe in discounting. We only do that because it's an opportunity twice a year. We do not want to train people to look for discounts. So that's all I can say. I don't know what videos you're talking about otherwise, but we do turn them off. It's true. It's totally true. Okay. Anything else I can do to help you?
I'm just curious to know why you guys don't do any videos on illustration. I know you guys did one with, I can't remember her name, but on the Futur Academy.
Yes.
And she did a full tutorial.
Yes.
But for those of us that love art, I guess for me, the overarching goal is to combine illustration and branding, if that's a thing. But you guys don't really talk about that.
Okay, I'll tell you why. It's hard for us to invite illustrators. I don't know if our audience are illustrators. So when we bring them, there's not that many that I know, and I can only invite who I know, right? And I can invite people who are fans of our channel. So Maggie came on because I reached out to her, and she taught some like iPad, Procreate kind of illustration stuff. And we do invite them to come on the show. The other problem with illustrators, it takes a lot longer to demonstrate a skill set there. It really does. So it's hard to show in a short format like the one that we have here on YouTube, okay? And I believe there are excellent illustrators out there who teach you exactly how to do what they do online on YouTube for free. And they're super valuable. And I would say this, if you truly want to become a brand strategist, you have to start thinking about the business and the strategy part and a little bit less about the execution part. They're usually not the same person.
Okay.
You have to kind of have that perspective of the 30,000 foot view versus the in the weeds, and that's the exact PMS color that I want. So there's a little conflict that's going to happen. You're supposed to be advising your client on how best to position their brand, how to attract them the market that they're looking for, and any other ideas that can help improve their business and to create a better customer experience. So you're going to have to choose your discipline too. Otherwise, you're going to spend 10 years studying and reading books that you're just not going to know what you've read. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Now,
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, if you ever want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me in DM, and maybe I can follow up with other things as you're going. So keep me updated on your progress and just hit me up on the DMs, okay?
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. Take care. Okay. I think we need to start wrapping this thing up here. So, Peter, any other kind of questions on YouTube?
There's a lot. I mean,
There's a lot? Well, give me the good ones, man.
I wanted to actually kind of like follow up if that's okay.
Yeah,
with
that's
the
totally
YouTube
fine.
Content. So I've been following the Futur for like this whole year. And if you want to become a brand strategist, I agree with everything that Chris said. Mm-hmm. A lot of good videos that I watched that helped me out a lot. And you have to rewatch it because there's a lot of information. The whole Melinda Livesey series.
Yes.
All the episodes.
Okay,
So
all of
much
Melinda
value.
Livesey. Okay.
A lot of the really long discussion ones too, like the after-hour calls, specifically the one most recently with the Pro Group after Adobe Max. And watch, and there's a lot of these type of videos, but watch Chris do the role plays. You'll gain a lot of insight in the role plays because that will show you how to display empathy, how to think more about your the person that you're talking to, like their customers, instead of just trying to sell yourself. It's not about selling, it's about helping other people out. And if you understand that, then that can help you become a really good brand strategist.
So part of this is there's probably 3 or 4 books I'm going to recommend for you guys that want to become better at sales. And coincidentally, becoming better at sales actually helps you to become a better listener. Those two things are tied together. The first book I'm going to recommend is Socratic Selling. And it's parallel. It's almost its evil twin brother, so to speak, is Never Split the Difference from Chris Voss, who's the FBI negotiator. Okay? Socratic Selling is a pretty old book. It may be out of print, so you might have a hard time finding it. Read those 2 books because they teach you that the most important thing that you can do is to ask questions and to listen. And if you've been watching this show, almost every time I do a role play, every time I'm working with a client, I'm doing the best that I can to empty my thoughts so that I can listen and be present in the moment. I want you to think of yourself, and we talked about this in Pro Call recently, is to be like a cup. And the cup needs to be empty so it can catch what the client, the customer, the focus group, whatever it is saying. It needs to be empty. So what you have to do is go through a process of purging all your biases. You come into the meeting with a lot of ideas and tendencies, things that have worked in the past, preconceptions about the client's business, what will work for them, etc. You need to clear all that stuff out. If you think of yourself as the good doctor or a good mechanic, you have a lot of experience and you're looking for something, but you don't want to go into it presuming what it is that you think the problem is, because then you'll be too quick to prescribe a solution. So learning to listen and to value what the client has to say. In the book Socratic Selling, he calls it full value listening. And all that means is every word and everything the client says is important. And it takes a lot of work and discipline to be able to do this. And this is why I think I'm a pretty good salesperson and why I think I'm a good strategist, because I've just learned to listen. The next book that you may want to read is a book called, I think it's called A Beautiful Question. I've not read that book yet, but I'm just entranced and just mesmerized by the title itself. And I thumbed through it just briefly, and he says, I think we should all become questionologists, which I think is a made-up word, but I love that idea too. So if you can learn to be present in the moment, ask really great questions. And in both books, they kind of give you many examples of what great questions sound like. And you start there. And they teach you how to listen and how to let the other person know that you are listening to them, that what they are saying matters to you.
What was that book again, Chris?
Which one?
The one you just...
The Beautiful Questions book?
Okay, yeah.
There's 2 of them. There's the Beautiful Questions and there's the Beautiful Questions like follow-up book. I see a lot of comments on here, or a few, I should say, not a lot, a few comments that I need to be on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. If anybody knows Joe Rogan, hook it up. I love MMA, mixed martial arts, and Joe Rogan is amazing. So I would love to be on his show. And I just don't know how to make that happen. I just don't think we're going to pop on his radar. So, but that would be awesome to happen in 2020. Okay.
2020.
Is that good enough there?
Yeah.
Peter?
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I think
That was your follow-up, right?
Yeah, that was my follow-up. And I think there's one more question that pops up in a lot of different flavors.
Go ahead.
It's mostly to do with imposter syndrome. I see a lot of questions asking about how to be consistent, how to know if you're good enough. It all probably deals with imposter syndrome from what I'm seeing.
Okay, so what's the question then?
Well, let's just ask, any tips to be consistent in creating content? It's really hard to be consistent.
Okay. Yes, I do have a great tip for you. Okay, you guys ready? Everybody that's having a hard time creating content, I want you to focus on something that's different than what you normally hear me say. I just want you to focus on quantity and not quality. Unmesh, who was on our show, he talked about how he was able to grow a following, and he didn't really care about the quality because quality can mess us all up. The pursuit of perfect will ruin most of us. And the reason why you want to focus on quantity is because you learn so much each time you do something to be able to iterate on an idea. And if you watch me on social media, you can see on almost every platform, I keep evolving. We try new things and we hear it from you guys. Some people say, I like it. Some people say, I don't like it at all. But that's a sign that we're experimenting. We're not just jumping in and locking ourselves into a formula and we're just doing it over and over again. Okay? I don't make 30 carousels at once. I work on many of them at a time. I release one and I read the comments and I see what sticks and what doesn't stick. I'm paying very careful attention to what you react to, what you like, what you share, and what you don't share. Sometimes it surprises me. Actually, most of the time it surprises me, and I'm learning as I go. I'm not saying I'm learning in terms of like what I know about design or typography, but I'm learning in terms of what it is that the audience that tunes in for me wants from me. And those are not always the same thing. So I'll give you an example. Some of my Instagram posts I thought were going to suck, that they were terrible, that everybody must know these things already, that it's very shallow information. And it turns out those are usually my most highest performing posts. The really basic fundamental stuff, explained very simply. And if you ask me, what should I put in a book? I would have never put those in a book. But that's what I do now. So we sometimes have this conversation, and as a thought experiment, I want you to think about this, okay? Think about this in your mind. Imagine this. Imagine I have two people of similar skill set, age, and passion and drive. One person, I would say, okay, you know what? Go make the most beautiful thing. Do the best job you can. Make your masterpiece, and I'm going to see you in 3 months. And the other person, I'm going to coach, and I'm going to say to them very differently, here's your objective. I want you to make as much as possible to just put out anything and don't worry about the results. Don't worry about who comments, likes, or shares your work. Don't worry about any of the criticism. Don't read any of it. All I want you to do is create. And I'll meet you every single day and I'll give you some feedback and we'll keep working on this. Now, at the end of 3 months, 90 days, who do you think has grown more? Who do you think has created higher quality work? Now, you would probably guess the person who's pursuing the perfect, the most beautiful thing. But as we know, 3 months can go by like this, and they've not created a single piece. They've had a lot of false starts. They would try things and never finish anything. And so they weren't learning. The other person probably has created 90, 120 pieces, whatever, and have grown a huge following, have learned so much, and have improved so much in their own skill. I honestly believe this to be true. So you can see here, in full transparent mode here, there was a period of time in which we tried to release highly edited, thought out, scripted, just beautifully edited, color contrast, all that kind of stuff. And we put those videos out and they performed really well. But as you can see now, we're returning back to the frequency of creating content on a regular cycle. And we're learning a lot about how to create content, what works, what doesn't work. And our numbers have gone up quite dramatically. So I believe in this. I believe in iterating, letting go, letting the product out there with mistakes and all. It's never perfect, but it's okay because we're building an audience and they're learning with us as we go. Hence the evolution of the After Hours series, the evolution of this, and then now the inclusion of the new whiteboard series and some soon to be released amazing content from Matthew and Sina, who's gone to the books to write and produce and edit some really amazing, thoughtful pieces. So we're going to have a mix of both. And I think you're going to see this channel really start to grow. Okay. I think that's kind of it for me, man.
Yeah. That was good.
That's it.
Is that it? Okay, so tune in tomorrow. I think we're going to do a whiteboard session. I think I'm doing a podcast. I don't know what else I'm doing. I got stuff I got to do. So we have 2 whiteboard sessions, one on how to manage your time and do more within the exact same amount of time. And the other one, we're going to talk about the difference between price, cost, and value.
Oh.
It's a deep dive. We're not going shallow. So I'll see you guys next time. Let me get back on my deck here. Jonah, you ready?
Yep.
Let me start on this slide so that works. Yeah, am I an arrogant person full of confidence? Maybe. But if you guys enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications. Love you guys. Thank you, Donation, for showing up. And all you guys that are supporting us, you sustaining members, I know who you are. Really appreciate you making this possible. Let us get out of here. I don't even know where my song is anymore. Where is it? I'll just play this one. That's it, guys.